When siblings Travis and Corey get kicked out of their summer camp for being a pair of tricksters and pulling not-so-innocent pranks on campmates, they go to their grandmother's inn and are told to behave, or they'll be grounded forever. At the inn, they discover that there's been a history of paranormal activity and many people have encountered hauntings, but no one has seen a ghost ever since their grandmother bought the place decades before. So, Travis and Corey decide to spook things up a little bit. They soon start pulling all kinds of supernatural pranks on the guests of the inn. But what they soon realize is their pranks have awakened actual ghosts that have been haunting the inn for centuries. Will they be able to put the ghosts to rest, or will be haunted forever? This is a spooky read that is definitely meant for readers who want to be scared, so beware. Some of the graphics even had me looking over my shoulder for paranormal ghosts. You don't like graphic novels? No worries. There's a regular chapter book version of this book as well. It's in our J section, and it's under Mary Downingham. That's the author. Just a warning that there is some content in here that is very scary, so if you are not up for a fright, then I suggest reading another book by some of my fellow librarians. If this does sound like the book for you, then make sure to stop by the library and check it out.
Misfit Mansion by K. Davault. Misfit Mansion is a home for strange and magical creatures, also known as horrors. The home is ran by a former paranormal investigator, Mr. Holloway, who rescues horrors who either don't have a family or have been mistreated. Our main character, Iris, who is a monster but doesn't know what kind, has never felt like she belongs and doesn't like that Mr. Holloway keeps them trapped in the house for safety. He tells the creatures that humans are scared of horrors and would try to harm them. Iris isn't convinced, though, and when the magical barrier to the house is disabled, she and some friends escape into the town. As Iris explores this brand new world, and things seem to be heading towards a happy ending, a vengeful paranormal hunter returns to the town, and Iris learns that Mr. Holloway has been keeping a terrible secret in the basement that could destroy everything and everyone. This graphic novel has a harvest festival, creepy dolls, unicorns, and all the monsters you could ever hope for.
Do you like reading books a little on the scary side? Well, if you do, Nightmare Island by Shakirah Bourne is the book for you. In this book, Serenity wants to make horror movies. Why, you ask? Because she feels that's the only way to deal with the nightmare that she has almost every night. Using her camera, she creates miniature movie scenes, trying to do her best to create the perfect horror movie. Her brother, his name is Peace, thinks it's cool. Her parents don't like it at all. One day, Serenity is taking pictures, and when the flash goes off, her brother begins to scream. That is not only a problem because he is so frightened, but because her parents believe that everything should be done at a whisper. Serenity doesn't understand what caused Peace to react to a flash with a scream when he has never done that before. And now her parents are very angry with her. Soon after that, Mom and Dad tell Serenity they are taking Peace on a special island vacation, and she has to go and stay with Grandmother. Serenity is having none of that. So she sneaks out of Gran's house and finds her way to join her mom, dad, and brother on vacation. With a lot of difficulty, Serenity is successful at getting to the island, but it is no vacation. Here is where the real horror begins. What will it take for Serenity to save herself and her family? If you want to know, you'll have to read Nightmare Island, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Have you ever heard of the bounty hunter called the Lilac? She is the most successful and dangerous bounty hunter in all the realm that everyone has been gossiping about. The only problem is the Lilac hasn't actually captured anyone for bounty yet. Her and her best friend, Dulcinetta, made up tales about the Lilacs Adventures to land them jobs, and find their plan successful when they land a job with the infamous monster hunter Baron Angbar. They're tasked with finding an ancient and precious artifact that was stolen from the Baron's home and go to Castle Angbar themselves to investigate. But what awaits them at Castle Angbar may be more of a mystery than any missing artifact. When the Lilac and Dulcinetta are investigating, someone at the dinner party gets murdered. To make matters worse, a barrier spell is placed on the castle, locking everyone in with no means of escape. Everyone is locked inside of Baron Angbar's castle, including the Lilac and Dulcinetta. The only way to escape is for them to solve the ever-growing number of mysteries the castle has to offer and break the barrier spell. Can they crack the case, or will they fall victim to the criminal's plan and stay locked in Baron Angbar's castle forevermore?
In this book, Mysteries of Trash and Treasure, The Secret Letters, by Margaret Peterson Haddix, Colin and Nevaeh are both dreading their summer. Colin's mom is making Colin go to work with her this summer. Nevaeh's dad is making Nevaeh go to work with him this summer. Neither Colin nor Nevaeh want to go to work for their parents, or at all. What kind of summer will that be? And to make it worse, both their parents have their own business of cleaning out other people's houses. What a bore, going through other people's junk. But they have no choice, so they get up and they go to work each day. That doesn't sound much like an interesting story until one day, Colin's foot goes through a floorboard in an attic of a house that's being cleared out. When he looks into the hole that his foot made, he sees a box, a shoebox. So he reaches down, pulls it out, and discovers letters. Well, his mom would consider that junk, so he's supposed to throw it away. But when nobody's looking, Colin hides the box under his seat in the car. When he gets home, he starts reading the letters. They're addressed to a girl named Rosemary. They were all written by a boy named Toby. Now Colin wants to find out who Toby is, and in doing so, he meets Nevaeh. Nevaeh is the same age as Colin, and she is very, very confident. Together, they find a second shoebox filled with letters from Rosemary to Toby. They figured out that these two people were just kids in the 1970s. What happened to Rosemary and Toby? Read to find out why the letters were left behind and how Toby and Rosemary are tracked down by Nevaeh and Colin in secret from their parents. Of course, that's not the only mystery that happens in this book. There are actually several mysteries, but they all come together in the end. I just finished reading this book, The Secret Letters, and I can't wait to read the sequel, The Ghostly Photos. I want to share with you my personal love for books written by Margaret Peterson Haddix. She is one of my favorite authors, and I hope when you read The Secret Letters, you enjoy it, and you read the sequel too. But why stop there? Margaret Peterson Haddix has written so many good books. Some are series, others are standalone. I recommend you read her other books as well.
I wanted to share the Superu series by Hahn. These are interactive pick your path books where you're in control of the character's fate. Every choice you make will have an impact on what happens in the story. The first book, Power of Flight, has you attending an ordinary science camp, But then you decide to sneak into an off-limits area at the Center for Avian Science, and you end up getting your hand scratched by a really weird bird. Now, after a night of fever dreams, you have gained the power of flight. How long will this power last? Will you be a superhero or will you become the villain? The choice is yours. And if you like the first book, we now have the second book, Power of Invisibility. In this volume, you come across a strange device in the woods that can turn you invisible. Just imagine all the things you could do. But would it lead you to save the world or would it lead to world domination? These are fun, action-packed books where you quickly learn that all actions have consequences.
Have you ever been asked what you want to be when you grow up? Maybe you have a dream, or maybe you have no idea. But either way, the That's a Job series can help. At the Lucy Robbins Wells Library, we have 7 books in this series, each based on a particular interest. Do you like sports or the outdoors? Are you an animal lover? Do you dream of being a performer or an artist? Is space your jam? Or maybe you aspire to help others. Each book is set up in the same way. For example, the I Like Animals, What Jobs Are There book begins with a table of contents that shows all the jobs you can learn about. And it is followed by an introduction spread that gives you an overview of what it might be like to work with animals and some qualities that are essential for success. Then you can read about each job and get an idea of what a typical day might look like in that occupation. At the end of the book, there are charts that help match your skills, qualities, and interests and goals to help you find a good match for a job you might love. Try one, try a few, or try them all. It is never too early to begin planning for your future, and these books will get you off on your way.
Warrior Girl by Carmen Tafolla. This novel in verse is told in first person by a young Chicana, Selena Teresa Guerrero Amaya, or Healy for short. Her family is Mexican and American, living in San Antonio, Texas. Her father is undocumented and has been deported twice in Healy's short life. In elementary school, most of her teachers showed ignorance at best, prejudice at worst, over everything Healy did, from the clothes she wore to how she said her name. Things did get better when she started middle school. She met new friends and had some understanding and encouraging teachers. Healy learned to express herself by writing poetry, and soon was writing poems about history and current events, which was the school year that the pandemic hit. In school, she also learned how the state whitewashed Texas and Mexico's history. Her grandmother was an activist in her younger days, and even her name, Guerrero, means warrior. One of my favorite lines is, "Freedom, it's either there for everyone or it isn't there at all," which really sums up this book. You Are Here, edited by Ellen O. This is a collection of interconnecting stories written by 12 Asian American authors, with each author writing a chapter. It takes place at a large Chicago airport shortly after travel has opened up following COVID. The characters are all Southeast or East Asian American, and each has a unique point of view. An incident happens at security that winds up delaying many flights. Because the incident involves an Asian, some passengers express their racism out loud. Each character is affected by the incident in some way or form. The various characters don't know each other, but see one another at the food court or the restroom. The airport is the perfect setting for the various characters to interact. I also recommend reading the author's note at the end to see how all these wonderful authors came together.